Got it.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Spa Sisters Podcast Season 2. Julie and I have been so busy over the summer months, seeking out therapists and managers and generating this great conversation that we've started. And today we have an amazing guest with us. Please welcome Gosia Newell. She is the spa manager for Fota Island in Island, actually. And what a beautiful setting you have there, Gosia. Very
It is actually, yeah.
That's not a Zoom background, is it?
No, it's my office outside of the office.
Amazing. So Gosia, thanks for joining us today. We have some incredible questions that we've shared with you, and you've been nice enough to give us an incredible insight into your world. We want to hear from you now so that we can share that with our therapists and our managers and our following. Remember, the Spa Sisters are here to engage, disrupt and transform the therapist experience, bringing voices together. So I'm going to hand over to Julie now, who's going to start with your questions.
Hi Gosia, lovely to be back with you again. And isn't it funny how the first time that we worked together, we actually trained together at Fota Island. So congratulations on being back there as the spa manager now. So what I'd love is if you could just give us an insight into your own personal journey through the spa world to, to be where you are today. How did you start? Where did you start? I mean, was it always something that you wanted to do? Did you always say, I'm going to be a spa manager? And also, can you sort of give us a bit of an insight as well into what kind of training that you've gone through to be able to get you where you are today?
Okay, firstly, hello everyone, Julie and Carly, thank you for inviting me. I feel flattered. The world is so small and we are here again. Julie, it's great to see you again and nice to meet you, Carly. I'm very happy to share some experience and some part of my life, I would even say, a big part of my life with you, everyone, with therapists and spa manager, whoever is there and watching us. So yeah, coming back to your first question, Julie, when I was a small girl, you can only imagine back in Poland in 1980s, in 80s, 70s, we didn't see much there. But I remember this movie on our Polish TV about cabin crew flying on planes. And that was my dream that time. Never happened. But then I remember as a teenager and a secondary school girl, I wanted to be oceanographer. I was always amazed about the oceans and dolphins and sea life. Unfortunately, I couldn't do that college due to not unfortunately, but personal reasons, because I started family and that college was a full-time college, hands-on. I basically couldn't do it. There was another moment that I wanted to be a dental technician, so the person who makes teeth, basically. And I remember I applied for it, and there was a manual exam that we had to make a face of monkey in a clay, because obviously it's very manual job. And I didn't even go for it. I'm very bad in art, so I didn't see me making the face of monkey with the clay. Anyway, I started family, and because I couldn't attend the classes what I wanted, I remember just sitting there and saying, okay, what am I going to do with my life? And I saw this private cosmetology college opening in my town in Poland. That was something new again for Poland. So I decided, well, I tried to do it. And this is the funny thing, because it was only when I started, I realized how much I love it and how much passion for body and skincare I had within me. So after 22 years now since I'm qualified, I can tell that was a good decision. And I'm very happy with it. And I think I'm lucky to be and do the job that I love. from bottom of my heart. So straight away after I qualified in 2000, I started job in the industry, in the beauty salons. I did some day spas. Then I moved to Ireland with my family, and also straight away went to the beauty industry. And first I was working in the beauty salon in Cork, and then I moved to the spa job. And that was life changer because, you know, I started feeling the holistic therapy, and the passion even exploded more. But also I was always driven by challenges. I wanted to know the therapist's job inside out totally. I wanted to know all areas of the job. So I became a supervisor, and I became an in-house trainer. So that gave me totally different perspective as well. Before I actually did this, because obviously I only had the 2 years college qualification, which is actually equivalent of CDESCO here. And I said I need to know a bit of business side of the job as well, because it's not only doing treatment, it's a business basically. So I did 2 years supervisory and business management course, and many other courses, small courses, modules, going to conferences, going to workshops. And then I also had my own business. That's totally eye-opening. You don't see things that you only go as a therapist and do your treatment for 1 hour with your client, but you see all those insights aspects. So you pay your bills, you look after your products, you look after your staff members. It's totally different experience. And then there was an amazing opportunity for me. And after I closed down my business, I was a trainer for one of the leading spa brands. And that was, again, just wonderful experience. Going to different spas around the world, talking to different managers and therapists, and seeing their own problems, and learning a lot of learning. That was actually funny, because I was going and I was teaching therapists, but I was learning myself a lot, absolutely a lot. I think that journey gave me, it was 4 years, around 4 years, and that gave me a lot of knowledge about spa operations, spa therapies, needs, and what do they struggle with. And then I thought, okay, because the trainer job involved lots of traveling, which was amazing, obviously, as well, I decided to settle down and to find the place and to find the one team where I can share the knowledge, where I can implement what I have learned, to make like a home workplace, but like a home from home, and not only for myself as a spa manager, but also for all my staff members and for therapists. So here I am, here in Fota Island Resort, and
great.
It has been an amazing journey.
Yeah. Gosia, honestly, what's coming through as you're speaking is your absolute passion to learn and share. And I think as us being fellow educators, we're all singing from the same song sheet. We are so wanting to get all the information and kind of know everything as much as we can and do it to the best of our ability. But then the ultimate goal really is to share whilst never stopping learning. So that's
absolutely
really,
and don't get me wrong, I'm still learning every day.
Exactly.
Yeah. Great. Oh, it's a wonderful story and a wonderful start from where your dreams were to where you ended up. But there was an element there of water. The water is still there in the spa.
Abbreviation SPA is the Sanctum per Aqua, which means in Latin health by the water.
Yep.
So yes, the ocean, it's somewhere there.
And also where you're sitting now, you're not that far away from the ocean there.
No.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And I mean, and as I say, I've been following, from a distance, but following very carefully what you've been doing. And I think you were one of the first people that I saw that was really active during the pandemic to think about your staff. So can you tell us a little bit more about, you know, what were the actions that you took to keep that spa team really focused and also to care for them in terms of their mental well-being? Because, you know, our industry was hit so hard. I know that lots and lots of therapists left the industry, they lost faith with it. So how did you cope with all of that?
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. Pandemic time was very, very challenging when it comes to keeping in touch with the team members. That was crazy. Even if we have the Zooms, we have the WhatsApp and everything, but it's not the same with the personal touch, with personal talk and chat with your staff member. Very important it was to make them feel secure and that it wasn't end of the world. But at the same time, we didn't know what was it. So it was kind of pretending a little bit because I had fears as well. I didn't feel secure. We didn't know what's happening, but I knew that I have to be there for them. The first lockdown, the first year was much, much easier with all this. I feel the pandemic and what it brought was new for all of us. But I don't know how it was. I probably think there was the same kind of feeling in other countries, but definitely here in Ireland, like, sure, we will be grand. A few months, time off. We do some gardening, we do sunbathing because it was the time of the spring and summer. And everyone was like, yeah, it will fly. Few months will fly. So the motivation and the engagement with staff members, not only therapists, but the full spa staff members, was quite good in the beginning because it was still kind of, we were going on the same battery what we left when we went to the lockdown. And because we had no idea that it's going to go for 2 years. So we kept going and it was quite good. I did a lot of Zoom meetings, but not Zoom meetings like the staff meetings. There was lots of engagement. And to be fair, I am so lucky with the team I have. And I had that time as well, because obviously that's normal. People comes and goes, so many of them left in the meantime, but they kind of wanted to do it. So we had cooking presentation, we had fitness class online, doing it together. People were sharing and sending photos and videos from what they were doing, walking with the dogs every day. But that's what kept us going. I did lots of on social media as well. Again, everyone is different, and sometimes it's not that 100% of my staff members were on the Zoom, and it's okay. It's okay to be like that as well. But putting maybe on social media, maybe there was another channel, another way to get into them and say, look, I know you are not here, but we are here. I am here for you, if anything, and I will be still here and waiting for you. Mostly of the time of the lockdown, I was working. Not every day is normal hours and normal days, but every so often, once, twice per week, definitely, I was coming actually here to the on site to the spa. We had to check for the security reasons and obviously to maintain the pools and hydro pools and everything as well. And I think that was very important as well, that I was sharing that time with the staff members. I was recording videos, taking photos. I'm still here. The spa is here. It's not end of the world. When you come back, when we come out from the lockdown, we will be here waiting for you. Just keep them updated with everything. Obviously, when we were coming out from the first lockdown, the opening, there was lots of new guidelines related to COVID and health and safety. Again, as soon as I got something on my email from Irish Spa Association or from Fota Island, any guidelines, I was sharing with staff members. They needed to know and start preparing completely different setting that we would never think before would happen in our spa industry and the service where we have to touch people and be close to them. So keeping them updated with all those was very, very important. The second year of the pandemic was much, much harder. Lots of people had their downtime and negative time. They were fed up. They didn't want this anymore. They had enough of time off. There was many things that happened in their personal lives. They lost their families members and friends due to COVID. So it was very tough, and for me as well, but I just kept going. I wasn't as active as in the first year, because also I didn't want them to be fed up of me and make them feel I have enough. Don't talk to me anymore. Don't send this anymore. So I kind of slowed down a bit, but I kept going, because what I have found from experience is, that's what I said just a couple of minutes ago, that even if they are not there and they don't engage, show them that you do, and you do care, and you're thinking of them. And maybe they don't say, oh, thank you, Gosia, thank you for being there, because I don't expect that at all. But they feel she's there for me if I need her. But there was no response, or it was very little. And I didn't want to press, because you feel they don't want it. So I actually started doing a personal, individual phone calls to staff members. And that was completely different, because as soon as they heard it's me, I'm calling, how are you, what's happening? You can talk a little bit more on personal level as well, rather than in a group. We know that it's not everyone likes to share everything in front of colleagues. So the personal and individual chats and individual phone calls worked much better during the second year.
Gosia, it's clear that you are a real role model for your team and for other, peers in the industry. And, you have a real business head, but you also work intuitively, and you're very it sounds like you really kind of read between the lines of what the needs are of your team.
Thank you.
That leads on to Julie's next question.
Yeah, it sure does, because I also know that pre-pandemic, you were also, again, I have not been stalking you on social media, but I always like to learn. I always like, so again, I was following your, say, pre-pandemic and all the things that you were doing as well on focusing on therapist well-being. So just give us a sort of an overview of the kinds of things that you were already getting involved in pre-pandemic to sort of be more focusing on employee work well-being and therapist well-being.
Okay, so I think I didn't even know I was doing it, but as a therapist, and doing the treatment every day, I was kind of looking into things. Okay, I'm doing it, how to make it better, how to make myself feel better, how to make sure that I don't injure myself. So, and I think I had this leadership. I was born with the leadership in my blood cells, I think, because I don't know, was it expectations from others, or maybe I kind of gave them assurance that I can do it, not only for myself, but for you guys as well. So let's put this together, what we want, and what's wrong with it, and what we can improve to make our job more effective, but also more enjoyable for ourselves. So as a supervisor and the in-house trainer, I always was stressing about not only quality of the treatment for our guests, obviously very important, but simple, important things such as, do we have products to work with? And I know it can sound very funny for many, or even people like, what do you mean no products for treatments? But then as a trainer, I have been traveling around different spas, and you probably know that as well, Julie, very well. Yes, therapists, sometimes they don't have products to work with and provide the treatment, or do they have enough turnover time in between treatments? Do they have 5 minutes to go to toilet?
Yeah.
Very simple and very obvious, but not obvious. So I was always looking into those things, and but the milestone for me, I think, it was actually when I started working as a manager. And after all the years of doing different jobs and seeing the different perspective of the spa jobs, I could really fully implement what I learned. And I strongly believe that the most important ingredient of the business is people. I remember in the beginning, again, simple things like regular staff meetings. When I become the spa manager, regular staff meetings, open conversation, listening to their needs, appreciation of their job, celebration of their small and big success. Before pandemic, for example, I give you an example. Before pandemic, we launched a new treatment brochure. And actually, what I can say now, and we are so proud of it, the brochure was made by therapists. Why? Because those are people who are doing the treatments.
Exactly.
I know, I did look into it from the business perspective, the price, the timing, turnover, everything else. But they need to go to the treatment room with that client, and they have to be happy what they're doing. Is this, sometimes skincare brands, they make this beautiful ritual, and when you read it, oh my God, that's amazing. But when you put it into an actual treatment inside the room, it's all mess. And it's all mess. And then therapy starting saying, we have no time. We cannot do that. Okay, how are we going to make it work? So listening to them, to their needs, what they like, and doing things they want to do it makes them happy to do it. So then they're happy to deliver that treatment and that service. So also the team buildings events has been very important thing to me. Before pandemic, it was, oh my God, we missed it so much, because before the pandemic, it was the time when we were doing it almost every month. Not nights out, we did nights out as well, but not as much. We did days out, and that was just amazing. We did lots of picnics, we did Zip It Park, we had day out with horse riding, we did Christmas evening. So there was a lot of things pre-pandemic I was doing. So probably that's why maybe it's funny, because I built up that relation outside of work with the team before pandemic, and maybe that really helped as well to keep going through the pandemic, even it was on the Zoom meetings or chats. That probably paid back, basically, to have the contact with all of them. During the pandemic, because of many things, the care for therapists, the care for my staff members, but care for myself as well, I think. I didn't want to, Julie knows me well, I think, and she knows I cannot sit down and do nothing. A day without challenge for me is a wasted day. And pandemic was, I didn't struggle. I kind of made myself busy, and I kept being active. But obviously I said, okay, I have to do something. I have to do something productive. So I signed up for 2 courses. I did them actually at the same time. Jesus, we had so much time. So I just wanted to use that time as much as possible. And I did the HR management course and a module of mental health and self-care. And that was something what I would recommend to do for anyone. Really, it was amazing. Both courses opened my eyes even wider. So first thing what I learned, you cannot pour from the empty cup. We all know that. And I have learned a lot about empathy and compassion during those courses. Again, with the new knowledge and new energy, we came back to work last June. I introduced staff yoga once per week.
Wow.
Whoever wants, no problem at all. Whoever wants. I'm not pressing on pushing anyone. Of course, our staff meetings and team building days out are continuing, so we're still doing it. Even last week we had a picnic on the beach and we had barbecue in my garden. I invited the staff members to my garden as well. So all this is continuing. I also have been working on a project about prevention of burnout and self-care. I'm working on it closely with HR department. I started doing workshop within my supervisor and management level spa because, as I said, we cannot pour from the empty cup. So we need to educate ourselves first to be able to share the knowledge and to know how to deal with it through our team members. So yeah. That was kind of before pandemic, during pandemic, and I'm still doing, and still every day, it's like there is so much we have done already, and then like, what am I going to do next? What will I do next? Where is another inspiration? What the other ideas? So I'm watching social media and everything else very closely.
Therapists must feel incredibly empowered around you.
They do. I hope they do, and I can see it. Yeah.
And I think, as well, you must be inspiring your superiors as such within the business.
I do, and I can hear from them as well. They always recognize what I'm doing, and they would even say, look, we wish everyone, all HODs would do it the same.
Yeah. That's wonderful. But again, you can be a catalyst for change. You can inspire people, set seeds. It doesn't have to be an exact copy. But what I'm hearing, Gosia, is it sounds to me like your senior managers have been very receptive to the changes you've wanted to make. Is that correct?
Absolutely. 100%. Probably some of them will be listening to this, but I'm not saying because of that. No, they are. And I don't know if I'm that lucky to have an amazing senior management team or maybe, and I'm very convincing, or maybe a little both of that.
Right. So it's just to sum up then, to finish off and sum up, what would you like to share that could help other spa managers on this journey? I mean, do you see some key elements that need to really be in place to make employee wellbeing programs successful?
I think the first and the one and solid one is to be more than ever human being.
Yeah.
Show your human face and lead by an example. Be your workplace wellness and well-being ambassador by doing things what I just mentioned in the other questions. This is first and solid one, definitely. If you don't do yoga and meditation and you don't look after your own self-care in all aspects of your life, and we know there is a huge wheel of life aspects, you cannot ask someone to do it. Basically, I say meditation and yoga as an example because you just said, Julie, someone can do gardening, someone can do reading and painting, which I don't do. Everyone is different, but if you don't do things and you don't look after yourself, you cannot expect or ask and share and empowering someone else to do it. Second thing, educate yourself. I definitely would recommend for spa managers some HR related courses, because when I actually did the module, the college HR management, through the classes and through the modules, I was sitting there and was like, but I'm doing it. That's part of my job. So we all managers, not only in spa industry, we have a lot of common with HR department. So getting this more detailed knowledge of it, it was very, very helpful for me to understand the job and the staff members' point of view, which is very, very important. I also would recommend to work with HR departments very closely, because that's their job. They love looking after staff members. So if you tell them you want to look after your staff members, they will definitely support you and help you. And the third kind of one, one of the solid third one is be excited about everything. Wellness, well-being doesn't mean yoga or meditation only. It is full, as I said, a full spectrum of life. There may be many things that people would like to do it, but they don't even know that they want to do it. Inspire them to look into it and make and tell them that their life will be happier, basically. So there are many things to be excited about, and if the spa manager is excited, their team will be excited as well.
Thank you so much, Gosia. Charlie, do you want to just finish off there?
It's just so wonderful to speak with you and hear you sharing all this. I'm sure that people that are listening and watching the podcast will be able to relate to you, will be able to learn from you. Thank you for your time. We're going to come back for part 2 of the Spa Sisters podcast with Gosia Newell. But for now, if you want to ask us any questions, please email spasisterspodcast@gmail.com or follow us at Spa Sisters Podcast on LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook. Please fire away questions. We'll relay these back to Gosia, and if you have any direct questions for us, we're always here to share. So we will see you again in part 2.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
See you in part 2.
Bye.